Sorry, I'm doing some minor setup stuff. Don't worry about it. Alright, there we go. When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. She's got places to be! Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last. One that I would remember for the rest of my days. Defendant's antechamber. Woohoo! Good morning, Gina. Well, okay then. Real friendly. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. Sarto, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again one day. Even so, but you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two! Oh, you brought the cat. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Thank you, Wagahai, for your input. Iris! What are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Oh, off he goes. Ah, Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Dark? But okay. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. The bad news was a weather report. So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So the good news is also a weather report. Okay. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? And now, the weather. I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad. And look! This trial has made headlines too! Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. See? How'd you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I think you care too much, honestly, and you're trying to hide it. I can't, because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Runo will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will. And then, in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo? Oh, yes. Let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Today's paper has been entered into the court record. Let me guess who is on the prosecution side. Is it possibly the Reaper of the Bailey again? Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. Hopefully the moral support does not involve the gun. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. It's very kind of you. Oh, yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering it is all. About Chomes. Did they fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success. But Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. Fucking buttons. The trial is about to begin. Please, make your way into the courtroom. It's time then. Yes. Let's go. Gina, Iris. Lead the way, Runa. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Gotta have confidence in your client. Or something like that. 10 a.m. Woohoo! The Old Bailey courtroom. There she is on the stand, and look who's across. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. Trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the I just started. Why are words happening? Not... I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. Because of course, it's you again. Why make more than one prosecution lawyer? The defense is ready. And apparently mildly stressed. Lord Van Sykes? My lord. Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. And here you are again today. Okay. I got something in my eye. I'm sorry, give me a second. Hey. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? Saved. In what one might describe as your formal life 5 years past. You dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? I'll believe it. He seems the type. Yet today, you chose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are 2 types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. Magnus McGilded. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. Oh, hey, rude. What? Did he really just say that? Yes, he just said the racism out loud. It's fine. We're not gonna worry about it. He means you now, Runo. Really? I couldn't tell. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zyke's eyes. Was that directed solely at me? Or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zyke's. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it. I don't understand it. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible. But could I have? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Isn't that the Russian revolutionary that Sholmes accused me of being? And then accused the ballerina of being? I love his mouse. It's cute. Is something wrong, Runo? Not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Something, almost like reusing assets. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know? So I've been led to believe. But something tells me I'm being duped. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zyke's. The court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. Sip my beverage. The victim, Mr. Pop Windebank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. Maybe you should have had 2 at slightly different angles so the stereoscope guy could... As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests the bullets pierced the man's heart, resulting in near instant death. Not instant death, I'm sorry. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It tells us he was shot from below, silly. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Or on the floor, or someone like the accused, you might say. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. Autopsy report. Crime scene photograph. Wow. Progress. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry. A door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim and the accused, yes. The victim, Mr. Windibank, and the accused. Okay, I love the Russian guy's, like, alert, like, that's cool. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? Just one of those filthy drabs that lives in the slums on the East End. It was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. Oh, there's the wine. My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! Oh, he's gonna call in the bitches who robbed the pawn shop and shot Sholmes. After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick-purse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zykes. At once, my lord. Floor plan. Windibank's revolver. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runa. I think that's because it has. Oh, off comes the cape. We're getting serious. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windibank on 16th of April this year. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie. Professional. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Yeah, where's, I don't think, I don't think Inspector Gregson is part of your, whatever you're doing. I don't think he's affiliated. What are you looking at me like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot. Blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our older bruv. Lost contact with him we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. Last night we come across you, the very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is. Very spit of him. I've got to look something up real quick. I have to, give me a second. One moment. Okay, yes. This is why they had the fruits. Anyway. So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two. Sulky Skulkin? And that's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Hey, we are not being mean. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you're doing in the witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they, these three? 2. No, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. With their willingness to shoot someone, though. By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence. Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Yeah, well, good for them. He has a box! Oh, Ringo has a box! Order! Order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. I'm okay. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw. Happy to! 'Cause a skulkin's never skulkin'. I'm fairly sure you were, skulkin' on the night in question. But, you know, that's irrelevant. Stop looking at the inspector like that. Get out of it. Illegal entry. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gaff's door was ajar, see? Was like some kind of sign, begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, cor blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that nice and quiet. And that is why Sholmes was shot, I presume. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. The precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. Okay. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within only the victim and the accused were found. Yeah, did you take into account someone else was shot? I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. It's not. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel? I may... yes. What's the matter, Runo? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know it's all nonsense, because I saw it with my very own eyes. Yes, we saw Sholmes get shot. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Woohoo, pack of lies. Let's cross-examine.
Hold it!
I'm just gonna press everything, because that's... Must have been about 1, right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky? How would I know? Place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky, me old mucker? Leave me alone. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim.
Objection!
That is pure conjecture. Heh, perhaps, but it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside. Right, that's what happened. Begging for us to go in. It was? What are you trying to suggest? That you had to go in? Well, God moves in mysterious ways, they say, don't they, Ringo? They do, Nash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon. God's will often presents itself as the whim of thieves, does it? Weren't no whim. I'm dead sure of that. Weren't, Nash, it weren't. Like we said at the time. You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that. No two ways about it. It was a sign that our long-lost brother was inside. They're not very good liars, are they? Well, you can't deny it. Led us to a bloke what looks just like our bruv. I said, cut it out. Those chips are getting a chomping today. But once we got inside core, blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room.
Hold it!
Did you? A gunshot, you say? Just the one. Are you sure about that? Right, there would have been a second gunshot, because Sholmes got. Yep, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? The firearm used belonged to the victim himself. Oh, you're actually going along with them calling you brother on this one. Yes, Mr. Windibank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. And then he used it like, if you're not satisfied, I'll... When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds. And he only ever kept one round in, so... That makes sense. Mr. Windibank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true, I remember him saying that as well. We can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court, the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. Wonderful. We went to see what was what. The door was locked from the inside. Pressing. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Wow. Van Zeg's just sniping. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there was only a little oil lamp burning, not much to see by. And the door was hidden behind a curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think. Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, while the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My learned Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former. Okay. I don't think they're courageous helpers. I think they're just nosy bitches. Alright, somehow I just proved I was a coward that night. Thank you, counsels. So, I believe we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that nice and quiet. You see...
Hold it!
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? Was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. Hands out of the pockets, okay. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left. Nice and quietly, you say. That's right, Governor. Nothing we hate more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. You already said that. So you'd clearly like us to believe. Come again? As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? Because it's almost like, gasp! Ryunosuke was there along with Sherlock Sholmes. I almost called him Sherlock Holmes again. Motherfucker. Name's too similar. And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive! They fired a gun, you say? Ah! Blimey, Governor. You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway. It was. Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? Oh, shoot. You were armed with a gun. And as you fled the scene, you fired that gun. At London's greatest detective, Sherlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to investigate the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. court will hold this weapon as evidence. The Skulkin brothers' gun. Woohoo! More court record. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are the telltale signs of spent powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial.
Objection!
Listen, I was there. I saw a guy get shot. I don't need evidence. You need evidence. You're doing a fucking lawyering. You're lawyering. Because I was there.
Objection!
However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired that gun before they left Windibanks that night. Court demands all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows these two witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night? I presume this, because we analyzed some blood that came from Herlock. Presumably that's Herlock's blood, because the bullet. And he was the guy who was shot.
Take that!
Presumably. The evidence is in this portfolio. What on earth have you there, counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains. Not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein? Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? Cream.
Take that!
What is that? Explain! It's a photographic print taken at Windibanks Pawnbrokery on the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windibanks' calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes that should go away. This is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun at in the pawnbrokers that night. Nah. Order? How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zykes? Do it. Don't do it. He's gonna have a sip, and then he's gonna yeet the glass? If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? There it goes! But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Eh? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. You're already in the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zykes knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zykes? As has been established at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. Right. In other words, trying to throw off their testimony, I threw off myself. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all. So that's it. That's it! We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Nash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. They're so gleeful. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? Ah, indeed. We're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh! That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, they would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion. prodigal, I feel. Excuse me, looking up a word. Oh, okay. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises. Their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I failed to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera. That's a bit of friar tuck, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a skulkin'. Witnesses? At what time did your trespassing begin? Must have been just after 1. Right, bruv? Must have been, Nash, must have been. Yeah, just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good Lord! It's the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you will please, counsel. Ugh. I don't believe it. Ginny. In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly killed Mr. Windbank. Well, that's a problem. I say, my lord. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. I know you're low battery. Stop beeping at me. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maiwand, 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, metal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. The battle of daily life, if you'd like. And here I am now, leading this small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together. You mark my words. 1 for all, and all for 1. And you're a massive nerd. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garadeb Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to be making a status report for the court, men. On the double. His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there, I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear? Stop. No room for doubt? Stop. Truth? Now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in the matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Did the doctor guy just do that with his face? Or am I losing my mind? It does indeed appear that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Because I always do. Very well, the court grants The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Abso-bally-lutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. Alright, who has a hot nonsense reason? Because one of you must. Probably the old guy. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketine. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I have left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now. Yep, that's completely unrelated. Mind made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop. In Motherland, we say, never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. I love your mouse. It's so cute. It's a cute little mouse. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print! Take it from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. We say that a lot, don't we? Oh dear. Apparently these cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, Counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Jury examination! Woo.
Hold it!
Let's see. Polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpursers, and crossmen. The scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps? Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes? That's right! I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Ranced magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London's streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary Maid of the Capital. Mr. Sholmes. A maid. It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail. It was the two brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, all right. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective. This was not what the trial was about, madam.
Objection!
You're convinced the brothers are innocent? Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Because she thinks they're the scum of the earth, and he thinks they're innocent. Good lord. Counsel, explain yourself. Why, my statement? Contradictory? Contradict. C-O-N... Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. Abdomen. A-B-T... Sir? Ah, linguistic troubles. I understand. Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Okay. Forgive me, I did not hear. Ugh. Well, at least you have that going for you, Ryunosuke. You speak English better than juror number 6. Ah, here is word. Abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? I don't know who picks the juries. So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? Oddly enough, yes, that is what I'm telling you. They said before, we never done nothing, but truth is, they shot detective? Duh, this is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Oh no, the poor mouse! Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by person who looks like criminal. I mean, my guy, you look like criminal, so... Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. I can't believe I'm on the same wavelength. Well, that guy looks like a criminal, so... This means... When they said, we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. Like I said, poor mouse! I must see with my own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid you can't do that, buddy. Yes, it is, Runo, easily. Sorry? With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. I know! Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then. As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken. That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understood the situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Boink. Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more than in what these jurors are saying. I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we might just turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Post-shooting photograph. Woo woo. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. And I know you're low battery. You've been doing this all. Shut. In lake of lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore, I say, not guilty verdict. Why, I can't charge him right now. I'm streaming. I'll charge them when the stream is over. Alright, number 5, talk to me. Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Ooh, we get to play science. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed? Makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. Just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to 4 corners of the globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. Can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Ooh, I think Mr. Stereoscope is not super happy.
Excuse me.
Hello. Hi. I know you like stereoscopes. I apologize for... Juror number 3, sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on, I dare you. Goodness, are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yes. Think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely. I mean, really. Machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. What a great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know! Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Bruno? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope? Well, I'm fairly sure...
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. Be delighted to. Just give me 1 more print and I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Shoot it. Those are as close to identical as... Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera and wind banks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. When your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important. So what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then? Nope, no, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyway. Oh! Oh! Of course, now I see. Ah, I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have! Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on! I can't do a stereoscopic. Can you see there's a really obvious difference between them? The lamp is broken. Well, also there's people, but the lamp is broken. Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second. But yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions. All right, I'll give it a go. Have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. And stereoscopic images don't work on me, and I don't know why. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Wait. Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runa? Not really. The stereoscopic. I'm just not very good at this. That's the trouble. Yes, but the way it does that is it merges the images for you. Like, I cannot do it in my brain. I happen to bring with me a portable stereoscope. Alright, let's go. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but if you've had that contraption with you from the outset, you could have saved me staring at Mr. Windibank and Gina like I hate them all that time. And if you remember, I said in reply that it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. I physically cannot. Leave me alone. Anyway, why don't we try using this helpful little aid now? Here goes. what we've got. Wait, look at that. What's going on with these two pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Oh, I'm glad Lord Van Zykes is on my page. Yes, that's it, you see. That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principles of the stereoscope, you answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope? As I said before, if you try to look at the two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that lets you see pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved between the two pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions, which I can actually see now without trying to stereoscope it. Because you can see the candlestick at like the edge of the desk there. Anyway. Yes, there must have been. Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? What's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What, me? I haven't the first idea. Well, obviously someone moved stuff. You know, Runo. It's quite simple. It is? Just think it through, step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers! Okay, I don't know why that got me. Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop. Yes. I've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in this summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift of the items on the counter. The professional baddie.
Take that!
It's the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait. This does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrase book says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. But is this Another lie? They're professional baddies, so... Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now hold on there a minute, you can't be sure of that. I quite agree, the accused is a common pick purse after all. Perfectly possible she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. Yeah, it's also possible your professional baddies went through the things on the desk to see what they could nick. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. Which is, yeah, about what we figured. But the accused is a pick purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulkin brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pick purse. Gasp. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and properly to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. Oh, he did do it with his forehead, okay. Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. I think that guy was just excited to use his stereoscope knowledge. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop. Purchase what? You know what? I'll just let that be a question. Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus, and I order this trial to continue. Yay! Well done. Oh, by the way. What? You should hold on to this, Runa. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely. But, alright. Stereoscope. Woo! Lord Van Zykes? You will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. Want myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Wow. To be continued. After I save. I might have to save in the middle and just in the middle of the next section here. If the controller fully goes. But you know, I'm gonna keep going until the controller fully goes. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination? Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov, I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Core blimey! This is gonna be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks. Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? Was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out, me Lucy Lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers... Core blimey. On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out? You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of seeing the light of day again. Yeah, I know. It's scary. You might go to jail. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Same old Morgov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. The whole truth, and nothing but. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling or nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump. And all that stuff went flying. Didn't half give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter'd come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered straight into him in the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tied it up, yeah. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat? Can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windibanks that night. Oh. had a thought. So this guy, right? Eggert Benedict, not his real name. I presume he's our Moriarty figure. I'm not sure, though. But I think Eggert, Eggy, good friend Eggy, minions these two. And sent them to Windibanks to steal, to like try and find what he was trying to get with the pawn ticket. Anyway, that's just a theory, though. I'm not sure. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye, I'm sure of it. Right, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling or nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshots shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah? This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright. Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up at that bang. Big bruv here screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. So these two have a Mario Luigi thing where the younger is taller. Got it. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked them scales on the floor? I am keeping marionette the way I said it, because that's just... You've really mastered working quietly, then. What a racket me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that. So, in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
That rhymes.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Gregson seems to have something to say.
Excuse me.
Pardon me, Inspector. Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? I keep saying I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night. The statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gumph. Might have. Does ring a bell now you mentioned it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. Can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, hey fella? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy, easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Goph. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!" The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. I'm sorry. The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun? The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun. You're saying that Mr. Windibank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? Two of them waving guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer said, "If you don't want to get shot." Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windibank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. Readily put a bullet in his own head. Anyway. That someone being himself, of course. Okay, good, we're going over that. Good grief. Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Bet he wish he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun!" It was directly after those words you heard the gunshot? It was more or less at the same time, Guff. Give me that gun. Bam! Kind of thing. Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tidying the place up. Okay, I've got to do that again and present something in the middle of their acting.
Hold it!
Oh. Not during their acting. I was pressing, not presenting.
Objection!
So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windibank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture. He has, Nash, he has, no question. I do have the picture. I'm presenting it to you. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windibank was not holding a firearm of any kind. Eh? You what? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windibank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hands. Hand. Singular hand. One hand. One hand. Anyway. Yeah, that Maltooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun. Bam! I've noticed something about the way that he was shot in the back.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are. Right there. Eh? If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony, would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you've just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend. Let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? A single bullet wound from the back, with no other signs of trauma. Have fun. According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously. Or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. Technically, it says almost instantly, but, you know, close enough. Ah. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Ah, the drama. Ah. But is the God's honest truth? It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hands. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windibank holding a gun. Summit like that might have slipped out. Ooh, this is new to the Reaper too. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean, despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, ah. Order, order, order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to, would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Scare him straight. Am I to understand you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we, cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us. Ooh, we have a he. Eggy! My good friend Eggy! Let me make your position here perfectly clear. I should actually say, I think, my good friend Eggy. Eggert Benedict. I think. I could be wrong. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Did Eggert shoot that man? Bruv, come on. The game's up. But he'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. My good friend Eggert. Eggert Benedict. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Ooh, they sweating. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop? Well, yeah? Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Time to press statements. Woo!
Hold it!
Why did you heave a sigh of relief when he showed his mug? When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windbank. Well, sorry, I mean, that's right. We was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. We never thought no one was gonna come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery's storeroom? Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Ginny must have been in there at that point as well. That doesn't make sense, does it? Gina had threatened Mr. Winterbank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint. Why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at that time? What? That mole tour? Couldn't tell you. No way, Cobber. We had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. Thought we'd had it.
Hold it!
So he was talking about your gun. You mentioned that Mr. Winterbank shouted those words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claimed you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim, Mr. Winterbank, wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever, blimey lummy? Great ugly barrel he had, pointed straight at me, frontispiece. We're looking up words once again, because that is what I do. So, like, right at you, huh? Wonder how that came to being, like, the first illustration, like, at the start of a book. Anyway, so what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Winterbank with the gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gov. It is. Spot on. Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was bedlam. I don't know who was going for who. They were clearly all going for each other. Like Nash said, I thought we'd had it. I mean... Strong as a dog, chucked me over the counter.
Hold it!
Speak to me about this statement. So I noticed you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony, too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette, what knocked off a picture frame, what knocked off them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Bruv here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I can tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did. If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right, when the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street. They ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Winterbank. He did everything he could to protect his shop. intending to shoot Mr. Windibank. Nah, 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 never. I was just, you know, looking out for me bruv, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled. Yes. And then the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away and ran off through that door and shut himself in. Something about that last remark. Possibly the, he's sweating bullets? Something that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Windibank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Ah, yeah, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windibank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windibank's hands again? I have no idea. That's strange, isn't it? This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and me bruv here. That's right, Nash, that's right, me and me bruv here. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear.
Hold it!
You say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch. So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could have possibly shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. Would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank? There could have been, because we know Gina didn't do it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Eh? What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. Sorry. Oh, we're out of battery! That's the end of the stream! We will find out what changed the course of the trial probably on Tuesday. Barring any, like, sudden schedule changes or anything. Tuesday! What changed the course of the trial from this testimony? We will find out. Hopefully. Sorry about that. See y'all next